My friends, let me tell you about it. So we met a new friend. We were scared of him, surrounded him,
Uh-huh.
almost beat him up.
Hey.
Instead, we woke him up, and his name was Meepo, and he lived in our old hangout, the Citadel, where unfortunately, or maybe fortunately for us, because of our kindness, we got in good with a bunch of little dragonites. Um, one of which has thrust himself in power. I forget his
Wait,
name.
wait,
It's
wait, hold
silly.
on. Can you even back up to where? So like the last thing I remember was we just started to investigate this basically this kind of hole in the wall as we started going into the
You want
Citadel.
me to tell it backwards?
Um, yeah, I kind of want to like I don't remember. We kicked the shit out of some rats and then some skeletons emerged
Oh,
and
even
then
before that.
Yeah,
and then I got my
yeah.
ass handed to me.
Yep.
So that was like
You kind
so
of blacked
basically the
out.
last
You blacked out.
yeah basically
That's right. That's right. That's right. Okay. So I'll back it on up for our other friend.
He has many gaps in his memory.
After getting down, here we are in the Citadel, and we're deep in it. How did we get here? Uh, after making our way down the stairs and in and fending off this giant rat, um, we found ourselves in this little room and picked a path. There were a few doors, but we chose one, and behind it, we ended up finding a little sleeping dude whose name was Meepo. Meepo's cute, and he sounds a little something like this. He's not just a Pokemon though. When we want him to talk and us to his big brothers, the elite squad, as they were. There's some hefty looking dragonites in here. I think we met about 8 of them or 9 of them, when including a leader and Meepo.
He did.
When we got in there and talked with them, and we learned that they the whole reason we met them was because Meepo's got a little junior dragon slayer. He's trying, and he wants to find his dragon. Actually, they all want to find their dragon, of which I guess there's just one, and it's not huge. We saw the cage that it was in and it broke out of. I'm not assuming it's gigantic, as far as dragons go. But that's just me. I forget how big was that cage that we saw where we met Meepo.
It was about. It was pretty close to like a 10 by 10. In terms of width. And it was pretty tall.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean it was probably about 10 by 10 by 10, more or less. Metal cage, broken, bent, open.
Yep. All right, so yeah, once we met Meepo's friends and I think escaped getting into any altercation, we took the charge to go venture out and look for this dragon. And we didn't make it too far. We found this little fountain, and we learned that, even though there was a big giant, there was some comedic relief there where we thought that giant rat that we slayed would be potential food for the dragon, and we sent Meepo to go slice up the giant rat and get the meat. And that was probably my favorite part of last week. And it turned out that the meat was not that the dragon only likes live rats, and so thanks to some charismatic characters on your team, we also convinced a couple of those little dragonite fellers to come with us. So here we are. We're deeper in the Citadel, looking for this dragon. Haven't really come across anything too dangerous yet, and we got a couple of bags of rats
Kron and Meepo here, tagging along, both fully weighed down by a sack of one live rat each that they're kind of large rat that they're carrying around for you. And I think Meepo still has slung over his shoulder the carcass of the dead rat that he indicated the dragon likes to play with. Likes to eat them fresh, play with the bodies. You you delved deeper after exploring the kobold sort of grand hall where Mystigon basically kissed the ring of this what he soon learned to be was a female kobold leader of this group of creatures. And yeah, they've bargained with you.
We hit it off.
She was quite taken with Mystigon. And yeah, they've granted you safe passage, with the alluring promise of returning their lost dragon. Now, there was also an indication that
from a bunch of goblins.
There's some thick beef with goblins who live in what they referred to as the goblin territories, where most kobolds fear to go. You don't know exactly where that is. Now, that's sort of more or less where we've left off. You were here in this dried up fountain room. Malmos, I believe, with the help of the kobolds, was able to read an inscription on the base of the fountain that read something more or less in Old Draconic, and I believe he read the words, "Let there be fire," and a reddish, brackish liquid began pouring out of the dragon fountain's mouth, which Malmos preserved in a water skin and basically got almost all of it up.
Damn! Quick thinking.
To the west is a very strange stone door, a carved relief door. Now again, that's like, when there's a three-dimensional statue almost carved into the wall itself. It's a part of the door. Gap, you are the closest one to the door right now, and there's a notable sense of a chill in the air as you stand near this door. And when you look back at it, you see what everyone else saw on the door from a distance. Carvings, relief carvings into the stone that basically depict skeletal dragons flying up through the air. To the north, oh yeah, nice. Getting some visuals. To the north, it's just a corridor that winds further north, open with a bit of a T intersection, and then beyond, it's hard to tell in the dark light of the dungeon, even with your enhanced vision on some of you. So, one thing I think I mentioned before, but I'll keep bringing up. If you don't tell me you're closing doors behind you, I'll assume you're leaving them open. So I don't know if you closed this door behind you or the one beyond that.
I think it's open.
No.
Okay.
I don't think we. Yeah.
Okay. Just leave those open then, and then just do some line of sight. All right. So here you stand. Again, I believe Malmos is still trying to further transcribe the inscription on the fountain, and is making some comments about possibly backtracking and one of the previous rooms seeming familiar to him, and he begins to kind of wander off. Now, before we get into real time, I'm just going to go ahead and shablam between the rats and the skeletons. Divvied up, you've all gained about 35 experience points thus far in your time here. I don't know what you need for level 2, but we'll check that out later. And you all have the floor. What would you like to do?
Wait, so Malmos wants to go back into the previous room?
Yeah, that's my out of character way of saying Robert's not here, and we're gonna allow him to explore around somewhat
Oh,
safely.
I got you.
He's gonna go
So
talk with the
that same
kobolds.
kind of
Okay.
connecting back to your point about closing doors. Then I think it's smart to like leave that one open and have him, take
Be
up
able
the
to
rear.
track. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he can putter around.
He can see the path you've taken.
Okay, so I'm gonna just go jump over on Igneous's shoulder while he's like scooping water out of the fountain. Is there anything in this fountain? Is it like
Malmos basically scooped everything. Like basically, once he said that word, that phrase aloud, the liquid began pouring out and then immediately stopped. Essentially, anything you could get out of the dried up fountain that came out of it, he managed to get most of that into this water skin.
okay?
I think
And now he's gone.
He looks like he wants to go back to speak to the kobolds. You could certainly
Okay, okay,
talk
okay.
to him before he goes, if you
Um,
wanted to.
yeah, why don't I from atop Igneous start strumming up a little like jolly strum and say, Malmos, what do you got there?
Says, not sure. Came out of the dragon fountain. Why don't you hold it for me while I go and explore? And he,
And how big is this thing? Is it like
it's
big
just,
enough?
yeah, it's just a little water skin.
Okay, then I'll put the loot back on my back and hold, and then kind of try to get him to
Okay,
toss it,
yeah,
and then
yeah.
I,
Tosses it to you. It's
and I
got a, feels like a fucking small bag of water.
but I'm so small, so and it's like huge. So. Can I play it? Can I play it like an instrument?
Pop, 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 pop. Absolutely.
Mystagon wants to inspect this door a bit.
Oh,
That he's yeah.
okay. It as you step past Gap, you too feel like a chill in the air, and you approach the door and see again depicted on the stone relief carving in the door a skeletal dragon that appears to be like ascending into the sky.
Can I look to see whether it's open? Like, kind of put my hand around and
Are you gonna touch
feel
it?
around? Yeah, I want to
Yeah,
touch it.
yeah. You touch it and it's fucking cold. It's not like
Oh.
painfully cold, but you feel like almost as if there's like a frost on the door, even though you don't see anything that illustrates that. There is also an inscription beneath the dragon near the lower bottom portion of the door. It is in a different tongue than I believe you speak, but you recognize that the typography is similar to that of what was read on the fountain behind you.
Okay, okay. I'd like to ask Meepo. Is like the dragon elemental? Is there any elemental aspects or anything like that?
Hmm.
Or can Meebo read the inscription?
Meepo kind of approaches. He's like he's almost holding the live rat in the sack for warmth as he gets near. And he's looking at it and he kind of just gets a little wide-eyed and a little bit scared. And he's like, and he kind of looks at you and in common tries to say what he thinks he's reading here. It says, Rebek, Rebuke, dead, open the way. And he kind of just starts nodding, like proud of his translation.
I think from a Mystagon perspective, anything that seems more intimidating or cold and stuff like that, he wants to go in. I think the
Yeah.
party is like seeing him itching to like
Mm.
open the door.
Okay.
Do I recognize this phrase at all in any way?
Let's see. Why don't you make an insight check for me? And I'm gonna have Gap's cleric senses are certainly tingling between the presence of the door and the phrase Meepo just stated here. I'm gonna have Gap make a religion check for us. Oh,
I can.
yeah, there you are. Oh,
That's a good one.
Gap, you feel pretty in tune. Like the senses of your godly connections are tingling right now.
It's great to hear.
God is with you, my son. Phaedra, you want to give us an insight check to pair up with that?
Do you get advantage now or no? Like does
I'm trying to find a nice balance of when.
okay.
I just
When-
rolled it a couple times and it said only records which you own can be shared.
Whoa, what? Oh no. Are you?
Oh wait, that's not a dice. That's
Yeah,
the okay,
yeah.
got it. Booyah, kacha.
Oh
Oh.
shit! God damn,
Nice.
son. It's just reading more like a riddle to you, Phaedra. And you kind of notice Gap, and you feel like the riddle is definitely deeply rooted in sort of divine magic more than anything.
Divine.
Something
Yeah. Okay.
dealing with life
So
and it's clearly dealing with life and death. But you get a sense between you, Gap, and Mystagon that there's some magic connected to this doorway.
I'm gonna start playing my lute and telling everybody like about what I heard in a song form about divine magic. Watch it.
Magic is everywhere. It's cold to the touch.
Definitely behind the door.
And when you're cold, you should refill your coffee, but please keep singing. I can hear you.
Yeah, so I'm singing, and then it's
Says
a
the
tight little song.
empty chair in Vancouver.
Yeah.
Get closer to the door. Touch it more. Touch it more.
Could there be anything with the red liquid that was poured out after "Let There Be Fire" was said, and now this is a cold door?
The gentle giant rock speaks and adds 2 and 2 together, but does it compute into an open door?
I'm down if you
The
wanna, like,
collective
spray that
party
thing.
ponders.
That's a good idea, Igneous. What are you thinking?
Could I like look around to see if there's like if this like dragon thing has an open mouth or like somewhere that says like I want liquid, I'm thirsty.
That's ready to receive.
Oh,
Yeah.
Igneous, why don't you go up and inspect that door?
And then he's dead.
I'm gonna move a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
There you go.
Yeah, right there.
Oh yeah, everyone pile in.
Oh, I love piling in.
And then should I try to intimidate the door into telling me the truth?
No, why don't you make a inspection check? Or sorry, investigation. Hey. Hey now. Hey. Well, just like everyone else, as you approach the door, as soon as you get within about 5 feet of it, you immediately feel the chill in the air. You examine the door, and it's clearly like the skeleton of a dragon etched in here. There's nothing in your mind that leads you to believe that pouring the liquid on here would have there's no place for it to go other than just like splashing it against the door. So you know, like a key that has a hole in a lock, there's no, your simple mind doesn't really think that two and two go together.
Okay.
Sorry for calling your mind simple, but it's
I
actually above
kind of
average. It's actually above average.
Yeah, it's not so bad.
I'm gonna kind of pat Igneous into opening the door, since there's kind of like I'm not sensing any evil from this magic, right?
You don't
You kind of.
you don't get the greatest feeling near this
Yeah.
cold door
Okay,
with
okay.
with
Then
dragon skeletons on it.
Then, in
Does-
quite the opposite, I'll pull Igneous back a little bit.
Does Gap have like a banish evil skill or something like that?
Gap has many magics.
Mr. Gun is gonna be like, I smell undead or some shit.
Yeah. Actually, let's see here.
What does Gap have?
Oh. Oh. Yes. As you, Mr. Gun, knowing some of Gap's abilities in the past here, and his creepy connection to life and death, and the dividing line between both realms, you kind of look at him and nod, and his eyes almost kind of become a bit milky as he like embraces the chill touch of the door, and his eyes of the grave form in his face, and he looks at you all knowing that there is a strong connection to undeath beyond this door. Gap, you know with some certainty that there's a strong magic on this door, and that there's an undead presence that lies beyond.
Let's play with it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just want to note that Ian was able to go get a part from a hardware store and get back home in the time it took us to look at this door.
Man, that's a good walkability rating.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
I agree. Let's open this sucker.
Oh no, wait! I don't think so. I'm getting a bad vibe about that. I'm kind of pulling Igneous back.
Oh, you don't want to open it? Okay.
No, there's this other hallway. I'm just like, let's go down here.
Alright.
Feel free to move your tokens where you want to be.
Well, I'm pulling on Igneous, so Igneous, you're kind of leading the pack, or at least the pack that is the two of us.
But if you're pulling on me, like what direction are you pulling?
Back and up, like north to up this
Back
hallway.
to the left.
Yeah.
Like up this way?
Yeah, definitely. Kind of being like, let's look, and you know, saying to Mr. Gon and Gap, like, boys, there's some magic behind there. Let's cross that bridge when we need to laugh.
Let's go down this hall then, huh?
Mr. Gon's just like fucking pussies.
Hey, you little piece of shit.
Little puss.
Alright, Mr. Gun, I gotta move him. Hold on.
Okay.
Hey man, pussies are strong. Pussies are tough.
Oh yeah. Let's do it.
They give birth.
Gap, you definitely get an image burned in your mind of that dragon skeleton door.
Yeah, I feel it.
But your colleagues decide to venture further north. And Mystigon, as you kind of step away and closer to the intersection up ahead, there's a notable odor of garbage and rot that kind of permeates down the corridor up above. You kind of loosely see some outward turned doors before your visibility starts to fade. And you kind of see, again here, yeah, there's like a little bit of an intersection up ahead.
Okay. I want to tell everyone it smells like shit and rot.
Thanks.
So yeah, you go first. I'm right here.
He who smelt it dealt it.
Yeah, that was me.
Oh.
I guess I'll walk forward.
Okay.
I'm just gonna hug you from behind here as you walk forward.
All right, so that's the whole plan. It's just me stepping forward slowly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cap and the kobolds bring in the rear. Okay.
And then can I look left and right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
As you step into the intersection, you see caved in and collapsed what was probably once another hallway to the east, and then to the west a wooden closed door. You kind of see a bit more clearly now that up ahead there's some outward turned, slightly ajar doors, and it appears that they kind of wind on and on. Let's see, how far are you here? You probably get a sense of a little bit further down the corridor. Almost looks like there's numerous doors on either side as you look deeper into the corridor up here.
Should we check out this door on the left?
I'm all about opening doors, man.
Yeah, let's see if we sense the same shit.
Okay. You approach and it just seems like a mundane wooden door.
All right, I'll shrug and just try to open it.
Okay. It opens away from you and appears to go into a small square-like room from this angle. As you step further in, you see what you've kind of noticed before, mostly an empty room chamber with rat droppings, crumbled stone here and there, stains, and a door to the north.
What do you think, Mystagon? Keep going.
Actually, I want to go to the south wall of this room. Do I get that same chill feeling?
You do not.
Oh shit. Okay.
Ooh.
Okay. Interesting. I think let's keep
I'm gonna jump over and be like, "What are you thinking, bub?"
Like I got bored because I didn't feel anything, so I went to the door.
Okay. It's another wooden door. Doesn't really, again, fairly mundane. Nothing particular about this.
I think I'm gonna open this one.
Okay.
Just because I feel safe-ish.
Okay.
I'm just hanging back. I jumped off Igneous and I'm like walking now behind Misty.
Okay.
Misty, baby.
You open the door outward towards you and have to step back to do so.
Oh.
And you spot a long hallway littered with sharp metal objects on every inch of the floor. And you immediately hear Kron behind you saying, "Goblins!"
Why is he saying that?
He's kind of looking at the floor and the objects littered on it. And
I'm gonna ask him what it is.
Yeah. Caltraps?
Sharp, pointy shit. And yeah, it's basically caltrips. Now, just to fully take in this room, again, it's a long corridor covered with caltrips everywhere. At the end of the corridor is a bit strange. It looks like a added wall that someone or some things built about 3.5 feet tall with crenellations up along it, kind of like the edge of like a tower or a castle. Clearly mortared and built with poor construction. there is a door that's fairly hard to see, fashioned into it, kind of right there. And above the 3.5-foot wall with the door is about 7 feet high, of open air ceiling. Clearly, this goes beyond into another chamber past this area.
Holy shit.
Someone's dug in.
Do we have like a trap revealer? What is it called? Or like someone
Detection?
who's like highly perceptive of like.
I can't think of anything other than Plumber Ian's butt crack.
That's a nice shot.
Oh shit!
That's the room we're going in.
That's the crenellations I'm talking about, right there. So I mean, at a glance, you'd be hard pressed to step through this room with any kind of speed without stepping on these sharp caltrops. You could certainly try to.
Could I?
but
Hey,
it would
Misty,
probably
if you
take
want
some
to get
time.
through here, I might be able to clear up some of the. Do I know if sleight of hand or I mean, mage hand would like kind of brush some of these things aside and move them?
Oh yeah, it certainly could.
It's because that's what I want to do, right? It's not like Misty could get through there otherwise, right?
Yeah, you think so. Now, what I'd like is the two of you who are closest to the door right now to make a stealth check. Just to see how quiet you
That's Igneous and
I guess that's
Misty.
me. Just how long has it been since I did the
Nice.
merge with stone thing? Like, do we still have that stealth enhancement?
You do not.
Okay.
It's been a little while.
So
Good
then,
question.
stealth.
It's only an hour, right?
Yeah.
What?
You've got disadvantage because of your armor.
Oh,
It automatically rolls with disadvantage because of that heavy shit. Mystagon, you kind of hear the heavy footfalls of Igneous behind you as you begin to open this door, and like you're able to just in time quietly pull shut the fuck up. There's some weird shit in here.
Hey, Igneous.
Yo, big man.
Hey, stop.
huh?
Let me go first this time. Can I peer in and like inspect the side walls, the west and east walls, just for like holes or some sort of like? I'm thinking darts or something.
Yeah. You could peer back in.
Do I have to get closer?
Yeah.
All right, let me get closer.
No. Sorry, that was not you guys.
Yeah, I'm going, Shane.
Shut up, Shane.
Igneous.
Okay, you peer in. You're kind of taking the room in a little bit here. Now,
Okay.
this clearly looks like, yeah, this is a runway of fuckery. And whatever's beyond that wall is probably what set this up. You don't see anything on the side walls. Again, it's about 10 feet wide across, about 20 feet down this runway towards this makeshift wall that was built at the end of the hallway. Your guts are telling you that whatever's going on here, this is like a defensive blockade from this end to the other. You don't see anything at a glance that makes you think there's something in the sidewalls. But why don't you make a perception check for me?
Oops.
That's just for Mystagon?
Yeah.
Only records which you own can be shared. What is that?
You're not.
Oh, you were doing what I was doing. You see the little die that's in the bottom left corner of your...
Oh my god.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. No, man. So Mystagon, the character. Now, this is the hard thing about this shit.
Yeah.
You got to embrace what Mystagon thinks.
Yeah,
what he
okay, I
believes.
got you.
Mystagon's like, bitch, there's nothing in here. Just some caltrips. Like, wall down there. I mean,
Yeah.
you're smart enough to know that you're like, yeah, this is a a bit of a blockade and all that stuff we talked about. But you're like, we got this. There's
So
nothing
I
going
want to
on.
look back over my shoulder, shrug, and be like, "Mage hand, what? Let's go."
Yeah, yeah. I like to think of it like if you're an actor, your dice rolls are the director telling you how to act, right? Like Mystigon's like, you're confident in what you see
Yeah.
here. Yeah.
All we need is mage hand,
Yeah.
and we're good.
Okay.
I'm gonna also, while I'm doing that, step back to give room for someone to do that. I guess Phaedra.
Yeah.
Yep, I'm gonna get up there. We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna be like, yeah, this one over here, that one over there, that one there, and then I'm gonna start strumming this little tune, and then out comes this hand, right? And then you boop, you boop, just like we planned,
Okay.
right?
Yeah, just like old days.
Okay. So it lasts a minute.
Igneous, do you like my minute-long song, or what's your reaction to my little lute play?
I'm just gonna like. Igneous dances by flexing his pecs or bouncing
Okay,
them. So
okay.
he's gonna do that.
Okay. Now Phaedra, now, based on Mystigon here, like, like, yeah, there's some potential danger here. The kobolds are not excited about this. They're kind of like whispering and murmuring, reeks of goblins. And they seem very, very hesitant. They're kind of hanging with Gap near the far wall away from this thing. So you know well enough that this is a potentially precarious situation. Now, with Mage Hand, I think he still kind of like to go all Fantasia on this thing and kind of puppeteer it and do its thing. No problem. To do it quietly, however, I feel like you should probably make a sleight of hand check.
Okay, so I'm playing my lute.
Why
I'm
did
playing
you
my lute.
wait? Hold on a second. Hold on. Something's
Sleight
wrong.
of hand.
Why is your sleight of hand switched to Constitution? You might have clicked that on accident. It's a dexterity skill.
Thank God.
Dex. Okay, yeah, there you go.
Okay. It's good.
Oh,
Okay. You spend about a minute kind of deftly clearing out enough of a path towards the door. It's not perfect, but it's good enough that you all could walk single file slowly towards the door.
all right, Igneous.
1 minute
Looks
later,
like you can
the job
fit.
is done.
Uh,
I'm gonna put my lute away and
Igneous will have to
backflip
sidestep.
up on the
if you
Igneous's shoulder while he's like sidestep. Yeah.
if you guys are at all worried about being heard, I should maybe not be the first one.
Oh yeah, that was the thing, right? But I think now I don't care, right? Now it's like a
Yeah, you should go first. Yeah.
yeah. Let me go.
Okay.
Did you do the middle or like one of the wall sides?
Let's
I went
just say
straight-
it's like a slight diagonal from
Yeah,
the
that's
middle.
exactly what I was
Because the
thinking,
door is
actually.
right kind of near where the end of the arrow is.
All right. First, I'm doing this.
Okay.
What do I see? Is that the same
So,
thing as usual?
Same thing. A small door up ahead, only about 4.5 feet tall, but big enough of a frame that you could duck through.
Okay.
Okay. Now, you
Okay.
approach the door.
Oh god.
What would you like to do?
I'm gonna look back and be like, "Hey, I made it here."
All right. I mean, I
I'm
guess
gonna-
I'll start following behind.
Yeah, a
you.
little backup here, but I'm gonna open the door.
Okay.
You guys cool? What is Kron doing? Is he just still hugging that wall?
Yeah. As Gap begins to make his way forward, they're starting to come with you. And you kind of hear them whispering back there. They seem pretty timid. But Kron's trying to like act tough, but you can tell he's a little scared.
Now I'm like super confident nothing's wrong, but
Yeah.
me as a not player wants to ask Kron, would I do that or no?
You want to ask Kron? Yeah, I
Just
mean,
be like, yo, man, looks fine, right? Like kind of that kind of thing.
Yeah, and then Kron's like kind of like loud whisper talking back at you. Goblin territories beyond here.
Oh,
Try not like this,
okay.
but dragon could be here.
After
Okay.
overhearing this, I'm going to be like, Meepo, is this the right way? Is this how we get to your precious?
People don't know. Dragon gone.
Can
I'm
you
open.
sense him? Can you what do you feel, Meepo? And I start to play him a little bardic inspiration.
Oh. Okay. You can tell Meepo's just scared and is like hugging the rat sack tightly, but following along.
Okay.
Now,
I can't help but reflect his mood, and the song turns really fucking dark. Smashing Pumpkins.
Okay. Let me see something real quick here. As you strum, which you know you can't help yourself, it's just what you do. You hear like a and
Oh, no.
two little goblinoid faces peek out over the wall with taut bowstrings pulled back, and two arrows fly forward. Let's see.
Yes.
I'm gonna roll a d6.
Stupid bards.
Oh, the first one flies towards Mystagon.
Oh, jeez.
Hold, please.
Yes.
And it misses.
Huzzah!
The other one
That was awesome.
flies
Attack!
towards the music maker.
Oh God.
And you hear like the curses of a goblin reacting to what sounded like a bowstring snapping. I need you all to roll initiative.
Run!
Do we run or do we fight?
I'm gonna.
I mean, either way.
Well,
have
I
to
guess
do
we got to
initiative.
roll initiative though. So.
Oh, booyah.
Wait, how do we?
If you
It's
go to
on
your
the first
main
page?
main
Main.
tab.
Oh, wait, it's not that, huh? Main. Int.
Oh,
Where
shit.
is it?
On a main tab in the middle. AC.
Oh yeah. Well, mine's a +2. I don't. You can take my old roll if you want to, and just +2 that.
Yeah, sure. Would you roll? 13.
Mm-hmm.
But he also rolled a 22.
Yeah.
I wasted that nat 20. That's a
Well-
shame. Okay. So you kind of hear Kron like in the back, like, "Rah! I told you, goblins!" And he's kind of like taking partial cover behind the door frame and holding there. Mystagon, what are you doing? Arrows just came. Well, one arrow came whizzing past you. Over
So
the
they're
wall.
behind this whatever, right?
Yeah, like you just saw, you know, again, like a 3.5-foot wall with like little crenellations. You just saw like a little goblinoid face and a taut arrow just come peeking out over the wall and fly towards you, and then it ducked back down behind the wall. What do you do? What do you do? And obviously, as we get our bearings, we can take some time with this, but as we get better, you either gotta just go with your gut and tell me what you're doing, or I will automatically just say you're dodging, which means they have disadvantage to attack you, but you kind of froze in terror just to keep game flow going. But we're not there yet. We're not there yet. You could take some time. What do you want to do, Mr. Gunn? Wani? Are you talking?
Yeah, hey,
Oh.
sorry. Did you say I can dodge right now and they'd go into disadvantage?
Yeah, so there's a whole world of complex things you can do. Let me just pull this up. Combat actions. So, like you can dodge basically on your turn instead of taking an action like a spell or an attack. You're being like extra defensive, and any attack roll made against you until your next turn has disadvantage. Means they roll twice and have to take the shittier roll.
I'm gonna do the dumb thing. I'm gonna attack.
Okay. So you saw him drop over the wall. You could try to open the door. You could try to climb over the wall, but currently you have no line of sight on these things.
Yeah, I want to open it for everyone.
Okay. As you approach the door and reach for the handle, you hear like a cling, 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 like the sound of a bell, clearly meant to alarm and trigger them. But the door opens fine.
How many turns these damn goblins get?
Oh, the goblin dude, this was just rigged to the door.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. And you see the goblin still fumbling with a broken bow, quickly trying to reach for something at its side, but you kind of caught him unawares. The bell alerted him, but you've kind of got the jump on him. What do you want to do?
I want to stay in my position, but do my Eldritch Blast or whatever.
Okay. So, again, if you go to your actions, there's the dice icon next to it. You can drag and drop that onto him to, because this is like a skill shot spell.
Yeah. So oh, I see it.
Yeah, so that's like the roll to hit. Natural 20. Goddamn.
Hey, die, bitch.
That's what I'm talking about.
You take the fight. You just roll up to him, point blank, fucking magic in his face. Take the flame icon next to it and drag and drop up. It's gonna do double dice damage from that nat 20.
Hello, who's there?
Crit spells hurt like a motherfucker. Just Goblin goes blasting back across the room, dead. Point blank shot. And you see the other one trying to knock another arrow, backing into what appears to be like a guard chamber or like a rest chamber for goblins. That motherfucker's dead. Gap behind you is slowly trying to make his way again. Single file line has him stuck behind Igneous. But let's see, does he have anything beneficial he would do here? Gap, you do not at the moment. He's taking a dodge action. Phaedra, you hear the blast and the gurgling screams of a dead goblin flying across the room. What are you doing?
My eyes are wide, and I am more awake than I've ever been in my life. I am so inspired. I jump off of Igneous and kind of duck tight behind where, here I'm going to move, the wall was, so I'm super safe.
Yeah.
I guess I have to be like a little bit over here to dodge all the cantrips.
Okay.
And then my eyes kind of go a little to the left, to the right, and then I start playing the song in homage to that Nat 20.
Yeah.
And then I blast the room with some bardic inspiration.
Okay. Who you passing that on to?
I'm gonna pass that on to Igneous.
Yes.
Okay. So you fucking whisper that jam. You fucking hit that power chord. Igneous, you've got yourself some bardic inspiration. You know how that works?
Hold on, give me 1 second.
Okay. Basically, you get an extra D6 that you can use. In the next 10 minutes, Phaedra's beautiful music or words linger with you, and anytime in the next 10 minutes, when you make an ability check, like a skill check, or roll to hit with an attack, or make a defensive saving throw, you can add the D6 as an extra roll on top of your total.
That's cool.
Now, Phaedra, that, I believe, is your only bardic inspiration left. So, Igneous, you're up. Now, and also for you, Phaedra, I imagine you're doing this, but kind of still taking cover behind the wall here.
Definitely.
So that's another thing, just to the complexity of strategy here is there's like half cover, 3/4 cover, total cover.
What is this?
You've pretty much got total cover unless they get over the wall. But even if you were like partially blocked by Mystigon and the wall, you'd probably have 3/4 cover, which gives you a +5 to your armor rating. So
Okay.
cover is good. Be specific about your positioning and your actions. Igneous, Phaedra's words have inspired you most of all. What would you like to do?
Do I have space to squeeze past him and run at the other goblin?
You could push past Mystigon and Phaedra. Basically, you'd get half speed, considering the caltrips and everything else. So technically, you could kind of come in. What's your total move speed?
30.
30. So if you went, let's just say you went here, cut across, you could get 15 feet. You could just make it to where Mystigon's telling you.
Hit that fucker.
Some fucking goblin action.
I'm into that. I'll do that.
Okay.
I really dig this soundtrack right now.
Yeah, Phaedra, nice.
Well, Phaedra's thank the bard.
All right, so then I'll swing.
I like that. You go in the room, you're like, I'm digging this soundtrack.
You fucking bring that big sword up and down, and you can try it, yeah.
Yeah, can I just do that?
Roll a d6.
Oh god.
Oh my.
I'm
watching this.
You're digging the soundtrack, but it's not enough.
Maybe a little too much.
Even the bard can't help you.
Yeah.
Stop flexing your pecs.
Swing and a miss. Meepo is slowly bringing in the rear behind gap. This guy slashes at you with a natural 20!
Oh my god.
It sees the opening you've left with its curved blade and just fucking upcuts you and immediately starts running for the door. Normally, you would have an attack of opportunity if someone attacked you and was running away, who was engaged in combat with you this close. But because he got a natural 20, my man, he fucking just slashes you and runs for it, and he gets away scot-free. He was
feeling my song more than you were.
He opens the door and just starts running. And you kind of get a little bit of a sight line on this, but it looks like a very narrow corridor to the south. Leaves his other goblin friend for dead, and just starts running for it. And just like he's screaming and screaming. Clearly in a language. Does anyone speak goblin?
I don't think so.
We gotta get out of here.
It's familiar.
We gotta get out of here, guys. They know we're coming.
It's familiar-ish. It's rooted in languages like, Dwarvish and Gnomish and stuff like that. But you don't know what he's saying, but he's clearly screaming something and running for it. Kron is just like mumbling. You can kind of hear Mystigon off in the distance. But we come back to you, Warlock.
Is this the dead body up here?
It is.
What is it?
Yeah, you see a dead body. And just to take it all in as you kind of look at the room here. It's just filthy. There's stains on the walls, shabby hides everywhere. The goblin body is resting on like the soft, warm embers of a almost died down fire pit. So he's kind of like right on top of that thing there. And clearly, like the stench in this room does not bring about any sense of hygiene for these creatures that have been living and sort of keeping watch here.
So, when I move here, my action is to see down the hall that he.
Oh,
I'm assuming he left the door open, right?
He did, and you immediately see like a wide open, narrow hallway that then appears to open up somewhere to the west. As you move in, like you probably just hear the faint sounds of the echoes of his screams and footfalls, not too far off. Like he only just got the jump on you.
Okay. There's no way to catch him.
Potentially. Now again, like every turn, we've just gotten to the next round. Everything that just happened kind of happened in slow-mo, like in a 6-second slice of time. We're now at the start of the next round. You've moved about 10 feet. You can move a total of 30 feet, so 20 feet more before you're out of your initial move. And then you can decide at that point to basically take a dash action, which would allow you to move another 30 feet instead of an attack or a spell. Or as you get to the end of that 20 feet, you could decide to potentially take an action, like cast a spell or use a weapon.
Okay, because I don't want to like totally commit. I want to take the 20 feet.
Okay, so get up to the edge of the corner there.
Because it sounds like I only hear the footfalls, not anything else.
Correct,
right?
you do not see him just yet.
Okay. Yeah, take the 20.
Okay.
Because I want to see what's down here first.
Get him, Mr. Gon. Get him.
You see him. You see him running for it. Looks like he's turning the corner still. And next to him are 3 crude target dummies stuffed with hay and other rags and shit. And you hear the sounds of at least several other creatures scrambling, like rattling, pieces of wood, clearly to the northwest. You see a door to the west itself, and this goblin is like running in slow-mo, like screaming towards the north.
Holy shit.
What
This
do you
is
wanna
not
do?
good.
What do you want to do here?
Give it to him.
Oh my god, I could be in line of sight. I want to cut this guy off and kill him. I don't know if that's possible. What was that?
So if you cut him off, you'd be taking a dash action, which means all you can do is position right now.
Oh shit. Yeah, I'm doing it.
Okay.
I know you're hurting, but I want to protect you.
Let's just hope that you don't bring more friends.
Yeah. I think they're coming anyway.
Similar to the wall you just climbed over, you see 3 other goblins who are clearly using this room for target practice, reaching for weapons. One of them was reaching for the wall, trying to climb over it to the north. The other 3 are readying and preparing weapons. As they spot you, you just kind of hear them all like, "Woo! You have, in fact, stopped the momentum of the goblin with the painted knees, but you find yourself sandwiched between all 3 of them. It's free to get, like, one partial sentence out if you want to scream or do anything. I don't know, but...
Yeah, he's yelling like shit.
Yeah. Mr. Gon is?
Yeah.
Okay.
To everyone.
Yeah, Igneous and Phaedra, you would definitely hear the cacophony of goblin giggles and screams with Mystigon chiming in to the chorus here. This guy is dead. Gap kind of hears some faint activity here and is moving in as much as he can past Igneous and Phaedra. Phaedra, what are you doing?
Okay. Shit. So I just heard that happen.
Yep. So, and remember, Phaedra, you don't see any of this.
Right.
You are looking at the room with the dead body. You see the open door. You hear like the chaos of something from a hallway off in the distance.
Do I have any kind of healing I can do to Igneous?
Yeah, you've got 1 spell slot left for cure wounds. At the same time, your cleric friend here is also offering to stay in the back line and tend to the wounded. Gap is kind of already reaching out and touching touching Igneous as we speak.
Yeah.
At the end of his turn here.
I have some limited self-healing. That feels better.
Wow.
Gap still
Okay.
has 1 spell slot left.
So I don't need to do that. So that's not my. So Gap went ahead of me, or what?
Yeah,
Oh,
Gap's,
okay, yeah.
Gap's turn was right before you, yeah.
Cool.
If you guys don't have it up, there is the little cross swords icon pulls up the combat tracker, which shows you whose turn is when.
It's up. I got it.
Cool.
Okay, is this little wall in between me and them all the way to the top, or is it
3.5 feet tall, and there's a little door here, right to your right there, that you can walk.
So I
through
could
as
jump
you-
over this. It's not like it goes all the way up to the ceiling, right?
Yeah, no, 3.5 feet. You could
Okay.
definitely go over it if you wanted to.
I'm not gonna go over it. How is it? How skinny is it?
It's like made with thin stones. I don't know, probably about that wide.
Okay, so they could
can't
hear.
math.
They could maybe hear something if I did some sort of like crazy loud prestidigitation noise.
Yeah, it would. It's very echoey between like these winding, wrapping hallways.
Okay, I'm gonna do some sort of like loud beast noise to like scare the bejesus out of these things.
Okay.
An intimidating, like just like fucking roar.
Okay. Why don't you make an intimidation check that I will pair with your prestidigitation magic.
Oh,
Okay, it's quite loud and quite intimidating. I'm gonna try something real quick here. Okay. The Mystagon, you see one of the goblins, the one who was like kind of partially reaching for the wall. The dragon's loose again! It's loose again! He kind of just starts screaming in common, and he starts climbing over the wall. The other two seem like a little shaky, like they're looking around, but they don't immediately make a break for it. Again, this is just what Mystagon sees. Phaedra, you still have some movement if you want. Prestidigitation, I think, took an action, so you still have the rest of your move action, which, you know, would be about 25 feet or so.
you're muted, Luke.
I'm gonna sidle up to the wall right here
Yeah,
with
yeah.
the intention to be
Respect
full
them.
cover, so it
Respect
can't.
those angles.
Yeah, sorry. So it can't really see me. Like I don't wanna. I can see their shadows, but I'm not trying to look at them directly. I'm just trying to listen.
Okay, well, I mean, you could go all the way up to the corner there and still have,
Okay.
like, you know, most cover.
Yeah. And I'm my butt's right against the wall. I'm like hiding.
Okay. Like that wall or the opposite wall?
No, that one right there. Yeah.
Okay. All right, yeah. So I mean, like, you peer around the wall and you can see the ass of the goblin with the painted knees who was trying to run for it, and you see Mystagon's body between him and the rest of the room. Igneous, you've heard all of these things. There's just chaos erupting right now between the roars and the goblin screams.
So I'm feeling great again, and I want another fucking piece. Yeah. So I'll just like run there.
Okay. All right. Yeah. You turn the corner, immediately see Phaedra kind of peering around, run past him, and just fucking flank the shit out of this goblin. What do you do?
I'm taking another swing at him
Okay.
because I'm very angry at him.
Should be embarrassed.
Also embarrassed. Oh, come on.
You are still embarrassed. Something about these tight quarters and these foul smells.
I want to let out a sigh. Just to go.
All right, I guess that's that.
Okay. The little kobolds are kind of slowly making their way with Gap here, carrying the sacks of rats. The goblin in the corner, arrow knocked, fires at short range here at a Mystagon and misses. Kind of hearing the whoosh of the greatsword of Igneous, also starts climbing over the wall after firing that shot. This guy, stuck in melee, dodging like the big, like he could feel the sword go past him. He still has Mystagon in front of him here. Pulls out his curved blade and slashes at you, Mystagon, and easily dodge. This guy.
Don't get cocky.
You hear like, and you hear like another arrow sort of being pulled back, and there's a shot fired over the wall. Fucking goes wide. We come back to the guy here in the corner who still has his arrow knocked and ready to fire. Shoots at you, Mystagon, and hits.
Oh.
It does not feel good, but it's just a grazing blow. Kron is kind of like mumbling and grumbling, and these guys are in no hurry to fight the goblins. But Mystagon, we come back to you in the middle of this shit. What are you doing?
I can't cross him without him doing an attack of opportunity, right? If I were to go back.
Correct, and I believe, because you are now actively engaged with him, that your Eldritch Blast, much like a shot from a bow or a crossbow, is a ranged spell attack. So if you were to do it point blank here with him fully engaged, it would give him an attack of opportunity, or you would have disadvantage.
Okay.
Let me just see something. Range attacks in close combat. Yeah, so you can do it. You have disadvantage on the attack roll if you're within 5 feet of him. So you basically have to turn on disadvantage and take the shittier roll. You could definitely do it. They wouldn't get an attack of opportunity. You would just have a harder time getting the shot off.
Would that be true for the one in the corner that's not over the wall?
Not at all. You could easily, like, as long as you're still, you can pivot around this guy. Like in any, as long as you stay within adjacent, you're like adjacent to him, you can kind of position yourself safely enough that there'd be no attack of opportunity. So you could basically, like, you just dodged his sword. You could kind of take that dodge and like blast the other guy.
Yeah. Would I be able? Here, I'm gonna show you something. Would I be able to move like this without taking an attack of opportunity, or no?
Yes.
I would be able to.
Yeah. You can pivot around him.
Yeah. So this dude just shot me in the freaking whatever.
Yep.
So I turn to him and shoot my blast.
Okay.
While going toward a little bit more cover.
Okay.
All right. Where is this thing? Okay, here it is.
Drop that damage, son.
You punk bitch.
Nasty.
So I gotta do damage, right?
Yeah. So yeah, you connect. Okay. Now you do the damage. Ooh, almost max. Another blast. Another goblin dead on the ground. That guy's still dead. Gap begins moving in. You can kind of hear him trying to corral the kobolds, and he moves in just behind you, Phaedra. It's kind of holding here. It's your turn, Bard. What do you want to do?
Okay, so what's that 5 foot on that little dude? Is he moving? Can I see is he in my line of sight? Painted knees?
Good enough between Igneous and Mystagon here.
I'm gonna pull out a dagger and give it a good throw.
Okay, kind of like pivot out and.
Yeah. No.
I'll be right back.
Because I'm so brave.
Okay, roll to hit that bitch.
Dagger. Is this just the damage or is this...
the bomb one with the dice is like the ranged throw.
Oh yeah.
That's the roll to hit.
That's the roll to hit. So skadoosh.
Oh my goodness! Natural 20. Roll the damage.
Where's the damage?
It's the D4. So you just drag off that box where it says D4 plus 2 piercing.
So okay, yeah. Why don't they have a like? It's not consistent the way they.
Oof. Who'd you drop that on? Okay. No.
I dropped that on this.
There you go. I don't think you dropped it on the right guy, but that's all right. Fucking perfect dagger throw right into the goblin's throat. Just blood splurting out all over Mystagon and Igneous as it falls back dead in front of the target dummies. Just a friendly reminder that ammunition, especially thrown daggers, needs to be recovered if you want to have that dagger again.
Yeah, I definitely saunter over, pull it out, and wipe it off,
And then get back
sheathe
behind your wall.
No, but I mean, those guys are dead, right? That other dude's dead.
Yeah.
I mean, I can. Oh yeah, I guess I wouldn't have known that they're dead yet.
You step in to retrieve your dagger, which was perfectly thrown, and pull it out of the throat of this thing. You could wipe it off on the target dummies or on the goblins' rags. Mystagon and Igneous, you know, I'll leave it to you to kind of find your rhythm as we go here. But you, Phaedra, wouldn't know about the two goblins that climbed over the wall unless Mystagon sort of relayed that information to you.
I do.
So, like, as you kind of pull the dagger out, you still have, like, 15 feet of movement left. You can reposition, if you like, with that information.
I'm going to be behind Igneous there.
All right,
yeah,
Igneous,
I'd be like, over the wall.
Igneous, again, just no door, but a 3.5-foot wall with crenellation stands to the north where Mystagon's describing this. You've been an embarrassment to your friends in this reunion thus far. But there's a door to the west and that wall to the north.
Is that the sort of thing I could jump over?
Yeah, you can make an athletics check if you wanted to, like, just run and jump over that fucking thing.
Yeah, I think Igneous is getting frustrated that he's so useless, so he's just gonna charge off.
Okay. So, without knowing what lies beyond, you turn the corner and just charge the wall?
Yep.
Okay. Alright, make an athletics check for me and then we'll go from there.
Oh, come on.
Run at the wall?
You go running and climbing over the wall. Like, in your mind, I'm imagining, like, you saw yourself just vaulting over with one hand, the other hand on your greatsword, getting the other hand midair on it, like you were just gonna come down and slash on these things. You vault over, and the poor goblin construction work, the stone just sort of crumbles and breaks in your strong grip as you spin over the wall and kind of land on your knees. You don't eat it, but, like, it's not a graceful landing. You're not able to get the attack off as you land on the other side. And it's all you can do to recover and get your hands back on your sword, where you find yourself next to a warm fire pit with, like, a cooking pot on it, and two goblins who look like they were preparing arrows, who are like, looking at you as you land next to them.
Oh, interesting looking guys. All right, so I tripped, so I don't do anything, but can I still shout, like, two more?
Yeah, you
more
can shout. You shout two more. You're able to stand back up with your sword at the ready, but you don't get an attack off.
Okay.
These guys kind of filing in. One of the goblins drops his bow, reaches for his blade, and tries to slash at you, and you just fucking block it as you start to stand up. This guy is down. This guy also drops his bow and reaches for his blade now that you're basically on top of him. And you fucking just turn the one block into the other and deflect both of them, kind of holding them at bay. That guy is gone. Kron is locked in there. Mystagon, you hear Igneous shouting over the wall. Again, there's about 7 foot clearance over this wall to the ceiling. And he says, 2 more!
I want to get to the wall, get a bit of cover, but just enough so I can see the one just north of me.
Okay. It's pretty short, but if, like, you kind of, like, lean over the wall, you can kind of, like, look over it and see him down there.
Yeah, and I want Eldridge blast that.
Okay. Alright, you kind of, like, lean over the wall and...
Yeah.
You got a wall between you, so you're fine.
And as I'm doing it, I'm like, hey, short stuff.
And he like ducks down. He's got enough cover from the wall that you completely miss. Gap, I don't know if you're with us here.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah. But Mystagon and Igneous have like charged ahead with the shouts of 2 more, and you know that they're talking about goblins.
Oh yeah.
You you could take a couple things. You could do a couple things here. You could charge in there. You could hang in the back line. No one is grievously wounded with you at the moment.
I am wounded.
You're a little bit.
A little bit. A little scratch.
Maybe Mystagon's like, I'm seriously wounded. He's just got like a little scratch on him.
yeah, that's what he would do. He would do that.
Yeah.
I'm dying over here.
What are you doing back there?
I could. How about can I use any of my weird grave powers to fuck it up?
I mean, you wanna get in there and fight the goblins. You wanna heal Mystagon. What broad strokes? What's your intention?
Yeah, let me just start small. Let's just heal Mystagon.
Okay.
Hey.
Yeah, you kind of step to the room past the bodies of goblins. Go up towards Mystagon. You hear his cries of pain, and you know that you've only got one spell left, but Mystagon's cries are quite painful. I'm assuming you're not in Fantasy Grounds, right? So I can do this for you if you like.
Yeah, go for it.
Alright, so you roll your Cure Wound spell. It's not the strongest magic, but it's strong enough, and Mystagon, you feel completely renewed. You, Gap, are out of level 1 spells, but still have your cantrips and your sort of innate Grave Domain powers.
Oh yeah.
Okay, Phaedra, what are you doing, Bard?
Well, there's a lot of healing going on, and then my buddy just jumped over there.
Yep.
I stabbed someone super awesome like.
Yeah, it was pretty hot.
Are cantrips still like I can use those all the time, right?
Cantrips are infinite. Yeah, they're like the magic.
All right,
that,
I'm gonna
like,
do
just
another
ingrained in you.
prestidigitation, like dragon roar.
Okay.
Yeah. Intimidation.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Okay. Skadoosh. Okay.
The two goblins. Let's see here. Sky. Both of them are like quivering in their boots right now. Like while you're holding the sort of deflected parried blows against your greatsword, Igneous, you can just feel like the rattling that's happening. Like as they're kind of like looking around. They've got disadvantage on their attacks should they continue. And actually, why don't we flip that around, Igneous, because you need it more than ever, and these things are quaking in their boots. Thanks to your bard friend here. You've got advantage on your attack. Now, Phaedra, sorry to cut you off. You did the spell. Did you want to get a move action in as well before Igneous goes?
No, I'm okay.
You good here? All right. Igneous, with the roar that just fucking like echoed through the chamber and the quivering goblins around you, you may turn advantage on and take an action.
All right, I'm gonna try this for a third time and hope that I hit something.
Thank God for that advantage, because you dropped a 2. But you connect with the goblin with the impatient saunter to the southwest here. Roll damage on him if you will.
Are you here? Okay, I'll be there.
And you just like fucking cut him end to end. The other goblin is just like, no, don't feed me to the dragon. He's like speaking in like half-broken common, and he just drops his blade and is looking at you. No, please, sorry, we're sorry. And he's just like standing there, hands up, in front of you. What do you want to do?
What do I want to do?
It's just you and him in a dark room with a dimly lit cooking fire.
And he's already dropped his weapons.
He dropped it.
Um,
What do you want to do? Ignis,
Just-
you're all alone with him. What do you want to
tell him to lie down on the floor.
do? Okay.
Okay.
He starts shirking down, and Mystigon, you can kind of see this from the line of sight from your Eldritch Blast. The goblin's just dropped his weapon and is lying down on the floor slowly.
And then I'll motion for other people to come.
Yeah, can we
Can I
relay,
step on his
like-
back?
Okay. All right.
Can I relay to the team that you've captured, or Igneous captured one of them?
Okay. Yeah. Basically, yeah, you've got him at your mercy right now unless he tries to get clever. So technically, basically there's two modes, right? There's slow mode where we go through initiative order, but once like any definite threats are gone, we kind of drop back into you all control the flow of time now. So no need to go turn by turn. If you want to convey that information, you do so. The goblin appears to be laying there.
I'm gonna get in here. I'm gonna get in here behind Igneous.
I'd also like to check that body.
Okay. Alright. The kobolds seem pretty concerned. They're kind of like whispering in Draconic at times here. But they appear to be just following along, staying near Gap. Let's see. So I'm going to jump to Mystigon for a moment. So in the room with the one goblin body, just do this real quick. He's got, and it's kind of particular, but he's got a single gold piece in a pouch on him, and beyond that, he's got his sort of ragged hide armor and a scimitar that he used to stab at you, and a short bow with some, like a small quiver of arrows, and all the arrows are kind of like tied with strange little feathers and bits of cloth.
Can I take the money?
Sure. 1 gold piece.
And then I have a dagger and a bow on me, right?
You've got 2 daggers and a crossbow.
Do those bows work on the crossbow or no?
No, these are arrows for a bow.
these are-
Crossbows use like smaller bolts.
Okay. It sounds like there's nothing else I can take from him.
Nothing really of interest, yeah.
I could tell the group if they were interested in it, but
Yeah.
I think I'll walk back
Okay.
to here.
Most of the other goblins, it's the same story. Like they all clearly have like the same stash of equipment types.
How about this one? Does he have like a gold piece?
Yeah,
or no?
each of them seem to have like a single gold piece on them.
I want to take one and just flick it at Igneous, be like a, hey, you did it, nice job.
Okay, you do that.
Yeah.
Igneous, I assume you take it, catch it.
You're muted, Shane, but I think he said yep.
Okay. Okay. And then Meepo and Kron just kind of continue to try to hold the live rats and keep them secure. Neither of them are really poking at the bodies.
Yoink.
Okay.
Yoinking.
Now, Phaedra and Igneous on the other side of the wall here with this guy.
Can I start trying to fuck with this guy a little bit and like be like, tell us what you know about the dragon? I'm not like fuck. I'm not like really mean about it. I'm like my friend here behind me is going to have some choice words with your nutsack if you don't tell us what you know about this our dragon friend. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, my buddy here speaks the language of nutsack. That's why he will speak choice words with it.
Okay.
Nutsacles.
In fact, he learned to speak nutsack at this very institution.
Why don't you, with advantage, make an intimidation check?
Alright. Intimidation.
Kind of like, so he starts speaking in broken common, like,
Stupid kobolds. We catch them and then we take their dragon. Chief knows where. We guard passageway, keep kobolds out.
Passageway. Is this the passageway to what?
Goblin territory. This goblin territory.
Okay. What's through these two doors? And I guess that's kind of my last question.
Great hall. Great goblin hall. Lie beyond. Many goblins.
he's kind of like looking at you with his yellow, sharp teeth.
You not make it very far.
He's kind of just smiling at you right now.
Yeah, I'm just gonna turn it igneous and with a kind of like a completely different face than my intimidating halfling face that I just gave. No more furrowed brow. I look at Igneous like, oh shit.
Do I trust? Do I believe him?
You can make an insight check.
All right, I'll do that.
Starting now.
There's my half decent rolls.
Yeah,
Well
there
done.
you go. Yeah. You believe this goblin. Like, he's clearly trying to put on like a tough guy act, despite his situation. But you believe him. There's, between the fear of the kobolds and what he's saying, you get the sense that, yeah, there's like a whole fucking tribe of goblins that probably live in or protect these goblin territories you've been hearing about.
Okay, so
and apparently he doesn't sound like he knows much of the details about it, but it's clear that the goblins are aware that they've captured the kobold's dragon.
okay, so I'll tell everyone else that I believe him. There's probably a whole mess of goblins up there. Then we can start prodding. Like, is there like tell us how to get around? Are there secret passages that you know about that no one else does?
Make another intimidation check. You Igneous.
Yes.
Okay. One moment. He looks at you and says,
I can't take you to goblins. They will hurt me for betraying them. But if you go that way,
and he kind of points at the door back over the wall to the southwest.
you go that way, you find some friends.
And he just kind of smiles.
Find some fun.
Do we believe him? I guess. I mean, is this still like we don't have to check that all the time, right?
No.
Okay, cool.
You believe him. You believe he's kind of being a little snarky about it. But long story short, you don't feel like this guy is willing to escort you anywhere.
Right.
You got him between a rock and a hard place, essentially.
Okay. Since we control time, Mr. Gunn, what are you doing right now?
just kind of like listening in, seeing where your questioning goes.
Hmm.
I'm also eyeing the dead body, looting.
Okay. So you're okay. I'm looking at Igneous. I'm like, do we need to know anything more? What do we do with this guy now? That's my like. Yeah, that's like straight up. I just ask like, what do we do with this thing now?
And then I'm guessing I still have my sword in my hand, but I'll like lift it up and shrug my shoulders and look at Phaedra for like,
Yeah.
Why don't I go talk to Kron real quick and be like, what do you think the next step should be?
Kron kind of like looks at you and says,
Kobolds and goblins exchange prisoners from time to time. We have some of our own back near Eustrail. We have an agreed upon exchange rate of 1 gold piece per prisoner.
you're kind of like looking at them, and he noticed you getting some of the gold off of the other bodies, and he's
Can we use the goblin for the dragon? Will they give that up?
You could try. I mean, you're asking Kron?
Yeah, asking Kron.
Kron looks at you and says,
Many hunting parties don't come back when they venture this deep into the goblin lands. I've never been this far myself.
he's kind of like looking around, trying to take it all in.
Yeah, okay. So there's a door right next to Kron, and then there's a door in the other rooms, right?
There is, yeah.
And the goblin said the north door is to the gate or the hallway.
the Great Hall.
Great hall.
Yeah. He kind of gestured to the north and the northwest in that room that they're in there.
So it sounds like behind the other door might be some prisoners that they were getting ready to exchange. Some like extra
Shall we check it
kobold
out?
buddies.
Yeah. Shall we check it out?
Then you can feel free to. I'm gonna stay
you hold
here
him.
with my foot on this guy's.
You as you put your foot on him, you notice that like tucked on his belt is a ring of keys. Mystagon, you notice that the door you approach is quite locked.
Okay.
It's locked.
So I'll grab the keys off him and then toss them at Mystagon.
Okay.
I want it without looking. Just grab him.
Okay.
Whoop.
Bloop. And you open the door. Immediately inside is a stench-filled room with numerous kobold prisoners, and in a small cage, way too small to hold him, is a small creature. It looks like this. There's a faint bit of recognition. It's a little halfling that you, Mystagon, thought you recognized as a former classmate or colleague from the Citadel, almost 2 decades past, who you saw in Oakhurst a few weeks ago. Him, along with several other chained kobolds along manacles on the wall, stand in front of you.
Those are those little crab-looking things.
No, yeah. Those are like the little manacles here. There's like chained prisoners stuck on the wall, and then this guy's in a little cage off on the western corner here.
What's on the south east of the wall in that corner? What is that?
It's just bits of like debris here and there, like old rubble, probably old statues, kind of crumbling and falling apart. As you kind of take this all in, Igneous, you've got your foot on the still breathing goblin. I think this is a pretty good until next time on moment. I don't know. Feels like a good clean break point.
Here, Ian, I got a little visual for you here. This guy's kind of goofy looking. Sad.
Actually, sorry, he's a gnome, not a halfling.
I wanted to end with me asking, "Hey, is that Chip?"
It's Erky. It's me, Erky. Erky Timbers. Who's there?
And then the credits roll.
Nice one, man.
See you
That was
next week
super
on,
fun.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah.
on RPGVille. Cool. Yeah, we'll pick up there. Clearly on the outskirts of Goblinville, with a room full of kobold prisoners and a small gnome who you faintly recognize. Will you find the dragon? Will the goblins overrun you? Will you exchange some prisoners? We'll find
Yeah,
out.
you're killing it, Jay.
We'll find out then. Hopefully
This
next
is-
Sunday.
This is